Live from wherever you're listening, it's the 5th annual That Wrestling Awards Show. And here's your host, Bill Yankovi. Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of That Wrestling Show, the only podcast where all pro wrestling matters, and welcome to the 5th annual That Wrestling Award Show. This is the award show voted upon and nominated by you, the fans of our Facebook group. Now, before I go any further, you may notice that a certain Norwegian was not introduced in the opening of this week's program. That is because Fro has been very busy as of late, so unfortunately, Fro and his special guest, Elmo, will not be here for the duration of the show. However, Fro will join me a little bit later on as we are going to review both NXT UK Takeover Blackpool 2 and Impact Wrestling Hard to Kill. We are also going to cover the big news stories of the week in professional wrestling and a lot more. But without any further ado, let's get to the awards. And our first category that was voted upon by our fans on our Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/ Wrestling Show Fan Group, is the most underrated wrestler of the year. This is a pretty simple category, I think. I don't really need to explain what this category is all about. So the nominees for the most underrated wrestler of 2019 are Asuka, Aleister Black, Zack Ryder, Hangman Page, Rhea Ripley, and Keith Lee. And that wrestling award for the most underrated wrestler of the year goes to Aleister Black. Aleister Black, the most underrated wrestler of 2019, voted upon by the fans of That Wrestling Show. Of course, Aleister Black could not be here to accept the award, so I will accept the award on his behalf. Our next category, we go from the most underrated to the most overrated wrestler of the year. The nominees in that category are Roman Reigns, Lacey Evans, Baron Corbin, Brandon Cutler, Charlotte Flair, Brock Lesnar, and Bobby Lashley. And that wrestling award for the most overrated wrestler of the year goes to, what a surprise, Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, second year in a row, named the most overrated wrestler of the year. Our next category is Feud of the Year. The Feud of the Year. And we had some very interesting choices for the Feud of the Year. So let's run down the nominees. The nominees for the Feud of the Year are Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega, Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan, The New Day versus The Revival, The Elite versus Inner Circle, and Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole. And that wrestling award for the Feud of the Year goes to... Oh, this was a close one. This is one vote separating the winner and second place. Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega, named the Feud of the Year. Congratulations to Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega. I will accept the award on both of their behalfs. And our final category for this first segment of the 5th annual That Wrestling Award Show is the always popular They Should Be in the WWE Hall of Fame award. This is a category that was created when we first started this, and this is basically giving the fans the opportunity to say, hey, these guys belong in the WWE Hall of Fame, and they're not even in it yet. So the nominees are, for this particular award, The Undertaker, The Rock, Jim Johnston, JBL, Christian, The Hardy Boys, Demolition, Owen Hart, Gary Hart, and The Midnight Express. And that wrestling award for the They Should Be in the WWE Hall of Fame goes to Demolition. Demolition winning the award. This is actually the first time they have won this award. So we will come back a little bit later on as we'll hand out more awards throughout this week's episode. I want to start off with unfortunate news. Everyone has heard by now the passing on Wednesday of Soul Man Rocky Johnson, a very influential black professional wrestler in our business, in this business of professional wrestling. And the reason why I didn't say African American, for those curious, is because he's Canadian. So we could say African Canadian. Rocky Johnson had a very, very colorful career, a very illustrious career. Had 3 kids, with his most famous being his youngest son, Dwayne Johnson. I think you guys may have heard of him as The Rock. I think he's well known. But I want to dive a little bit more into the career and the life of Rocky Johnson. Now, Rocky Johnson was raised in Nova Scotia, and his family immigrated after escaping from the southern plantations in the United States during or after the American Revolutionary War. By the time he was 16 years old, Johnson moved to Toronto, where he began not only as a professional wrestler, but as a truck driver. Can you imagine Rocky Johnson as a truck driver? Anyway, he also was a boxer at one point in his life and sparred with 2 of the best heavyweight wrestlers of the 1970s and 2 of the greatest heavyweight boxers of all time, Muhammad Ali and George Foreman. Rocky Johnson started his professional wrestling career in 1964 and wrestled all the way until 1991. During that time, listen to the accolades, the championships that Rocky Johnson won. He was a co-holder of the Detroit version of the NWA World Tag Team Championship with Ben Justice. In Florida, he held the Florida version of the Brass Knuckles Championship, was a 3-time Florida Heavyweight Champion, was a co-holder of the Florida Tag Team titles with Pedro Morales, another Hall of Famer, and the Florida Television Champion. In Memphis, he was a 2-time co-holder of the AWA Southern Tag Team titles, once with Jimmy Valiant, and the other with Soul Train Jones, who later became Virgil. In Georgia, he held the Georgia Heavyweight title, was a co-holder of both the Georgia and Macon Tag Team Championship, with 2 separate partners, Jerry Briscoe with the Georgia Tag Team titles and Danny Littlebear with the Macon Tag Team titles. In the Mid-Atlantic territory, he held the NWA television title on 2 occasions. In Canada, he wrestled for NWA All-Star Wrestling and held the Vancouver version of the Canadian Tag Team titles with Don Leo Jonathan. In Texas, he held the Texas version of the Brass Knuckles title, was a 2-time Texas Heavyweight Champion, and was a co-holder of the Texas Tag Team title with Jose Lothario. In NWA Hollywood, he held the America's Heavyweight title, was a co-holder of the America's Tag Team title with Earl Maynard, and was a 2-time Beat the Champ TV champion. Now back to Memphis, which at times was also known as NWA Mid-America. He was a co-holder of the CWA-AWA International Tag Team titles with Bill Dundee and held the Memphis version of the Southern Heavyweight title. In San Francisco, he held their version of the United States Heavyweight title and was 4 times co-holder of the San Francisco version of the World Tag Team titles, 3 times with Pat Patterson and once with Pepper Gomez. In Hawaii, he was a 2-time co-holder of the Polynesian Pacific Tag Team titles with Ricky Johnson. In the Pacific Northwest Territory, where Don Owens was king, he held the Pacific Northwest Heavyweight title and was a 2-time co-holder of the Pacific Northwest Tag Team titles, once with Brett Sawyer and once with Iceman King Parsons. But he may be most famous for, in 1983, winning the WWF Tag Team Championship with another future Hall of Famer, Tony Atlas, as they defeated Afa and Sika, the Wild Samoans, in 1983. Now, the famous or infamous story, depending on how you want to put it, is Tony Atlas and Rocky Johnson never got along. You're the WWF Tag Team Champions, but off camera, they never got along. Rocky Johnson is a member of the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame class of 2008. In the same year, he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame by his son, The Rock. Now, for those that might not remember, in Season 1 of That 70s Show, Dwayne Johnson did play his dad in an episode of That 70s Show entitled That Wrestling Show. But anyway, Rocky Johnson was a very important wrestler, very important, influential figure, I think, not only to African Americans and African Canadians, but also to all black professional wrestlers, to have gone territory to territory and to be very successful wherever he went. And you know, he did a lot for the business. He recently, I could tell you, was announced as a member on the committee for the International Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, which, recently the building, they started working on that. They're getting the committee together, and Rocky Johnson was going to be a member of that committee. But unfortunately, he passed away. He is survived by his 3rd wife, Dana, and his 3 children. So, on behalf of everyone here at That Wrestling Show, our thoughts and condolences and prayers go out to Rocky Johnson's entire family. The wrestling world, no doubt, will be missing an important figure in professional wrestling. Also this week, we lost Kendo Nagasaki, whose real name was Kazuo Sakurada. He began in 1971 and went all the way until 2000. He had a 29-year career. That's impressive. And it's very weird because the Kendo Nagasaki character, there's actually 2 different versions of the Kendo Nagasaki gimmick. The original one was a British wrestler by the name of Peter Thornley, and he wrestled primarily in Europe. Here we're talking about the second version of Kendo Nagasaki, Kazuo Sakurada, who passed away on Sunday. Now, before he became a professional wrestler, he was a sumo wrestler, and he weighed at 254 pounds. He retired in March of 1971, 3 months before starting as a professional wrestler. During that time, he went 148, 132, and 21. His highest rank was Makushita 13, which he reached in January 1970. He had a 7-year sumo career before transitioning into professional wrestling, where he worked in the Old Japan Pro Wrestling Alliance. He went a lot of places. All Japan, New Japan, and then he went to Calgary for Stampede Wrestling with Stu Hart. Yeah, Kendo, he was a very good. He was a very, very good wrestler. Then he went to Memphis, and then he went through the NWA territories, and then he came back to Japan, and he continued to wrestle until his retirement in 2000. Now, during his career as a professional wrestler, he held the Florida Heavyweight title and was a co-holder of the Florida Tag Team titles with Mr. Hito. He held the Southern Heavyweight title, was 3 times co-holder of the American Tag Team titles with Mr. Hito, was a co-holder of the Pacific Northwest Tag Team titles with Colonel De Beers. In Stampede Wrestling, was a 3-time co-holder of their international tag team titles, twice with Mr. Hito and once with Kazavudu. Also held the North American Heavyweight Championship. In Puerto Rico, he was a 4-time co-holder of the World Wrestling Council tag team titles, all 4 of them with Mr. Pogo. And in the Texas Wrestling Federation, held the Asian Heavyweight title. Very interestingly to note is he had 1 MMA fight. Yes, Kendo Nagasaki was an MMA fighter for 1 match only. On September 26, 1995, he lost to American Zane Frazier by knockout punch in the first round, 36 seconds into the fight. But Kendo Nagasaki, down south, was a very important wrestler there. He was a name. He really was a name. And to think, I'm sure some of you are surprised that there were 2 Kendo Nagasakis, but this is the one here in North America anyway that is probably most remembered. And we send our condolences and thoughts and prayers to Kendo Nagasaki's family. Passed away at 71. So not a good week in professional wrestling for deaths. If you didn't check out our Facebook group this week, I had posted a couple of things, one of which was that I was going to make 2 announcements this week on the show. One short term and one long term. I'm not going to keep you guys waiting. Let's get into it. The first one I'm going to announce is the short term. We are doing the 2020 Royal Rumble Roulette this year. And this one's going to be a little bit different this year because it is only exclusively to Facebook members of our fan group. So, it's real simple. All you have to do to sign up is say, I want to enter, or I'm in, and you will be in the Royal Rumble Roulette. Now, the Royal Rumble Roulette, for those who have never done this before, the day before the Royal Rumble, I'm going to have a wheel, or I'm going to spin a wheel, and everyone will be getting a number. Whatever number it lands on when it's your name for the wheel, that is your number for both the men and the women's Rumble match. And if you end up with the winning number, you will win a prize. What is that prize? Well, I can't really confirm it. I'm going to save it till next week. So, that is the short-term announcement. The long-term announcement is, as of this past Wednesday, That Wrestling Show is now on Instagram. You can follow the show on Instagram, Instagram.com/That Wrestling Show. Or if you have, if you use your smartphone, you just type in That Wrestling Show in the search, and we are right there. You're going to be getting links to, episodes like this week and a lot of other fun stuff. So check it out. That Wrestling Show on Instagram. Going to be posting a lot of cool stuff in the very near future. All right, let's talk about really the big news of the week, outside of the deaths in professional wrestling. And that is that AEW and TNT have signed a 4-year contract that basically is going to keep AEW alive and well. This contract will go through the end of 2023. The 4-year deal, and this is according to reports, is worth $175 million in rights fees, which is just under $45 million per year, and includes TNT having an option to keep the show through the end of 2024 at a significantly increased price. The deal has annual escalators built into the contract. So what this means, folks, is now All Elite Wrestling, number one, they're going to be around for a long time. Number two, with that money, they're going to be able to, who knows, maybe upgrade their stage, upgrade production, and more importantly, get new wrestlers to sign. They will now have the money to be able to sign wrestlers to brand new contracts. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that works out. But that is great news, not only for All Elite Wrestling, but for the entire professional wrestling industry, because AEW does have a following, and they do need something like this, and I think this is absolutely tremendous news for All Elite Wrestling to basically be given the confidence from TNT saying, hey, we're going to give you a 4-year extension and we're going to pay you a buttload of money. So, but that's great news to hear. Congratulations to AEW. They really deserve it. And once again this week, they beat NXT in the TV ratings. So AEW, they're doing something good, folks. They really are doing something good. Other news, and this was a big news that broke over the week or over the previous weekend, is Marty Scurll has re-signed with Ring of Honor Wrestling, and as part of his deal, he is now the new booker for Ring of Honor, which is a very interesting, and it may not be a bad thing. I'm not saying that the previous booker was doing a terrible job. I think the previous booker, he'd been doing this for a long time. I want to say it was like 7-8 years. But now Marty is getting the book, and what's also interesting is in the contract for Marty Scurll is not only is he allowed to wrestle in Ring of Honor, but he's also allowed to wrestle in the NWA, and he's also allowed to wrestle in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And that's very interesting because as of late this week, Ring of Honor has announced talent for New Japan Pro Wrestling to come over and work at Supercard of Honor during WrestleMania weekend this year. Because a few months ago, there were people saying, this could be the end of Ring of Honor and New Japan's working relationship. But I guess it's not, because they got Jay White coming, they've got Shingo, they've got Will Ospreay, Kenta is coming over, and Kenta hasn't worked in Ring of Honor in well over a decade. So, pretty good news, I think, all around for Ring of Honor this week. Marty Scurll being the new booker, and we'll see where it goes from Ring of Honor. Now, obviously, I'm going to say this. It's going to take a while, for whatever direction Marty Scurll has to go. Because it's, change doesn't come like that overnight. It takes time. And, we're just going to have to be patient. You're just going to have to be patient, folks. Alright, we got some more awards to hand out here on the 5th annual That Wrestling Show. And our next category is the Hell Has Frozen Over Award. This is for the most shocking moment of the year in professional wrestling. The nominees voted upon and nominated by our fans. The nominees are CM Punk joins Fox, kind of back with WWE. Jon Moxley debuts at Double or Nothing. WWE having competition with All Elite Wrestling. MJF turning on Cody. WWE in Saudi Arabia. And Chris Jericho signs with All Elite Wrestling. And that wrestling award for the Hell Has Frozen Over award goes to CM Punk joins Fox, is kind of back with WWE. I will once again accept this award on behalf of, well, all the winners. Our next category is Best Commentator. Best Commentator. This is always an interesting category. The nominees are Excalibur, Corey Graves, Kevin Kelly, and Mauro Ranallo. And that wrestling award for the best commentator of 2019 belongs to Mamma Mia, he's done it again, Mauro Ranallo. This is the second time in 3 years that Mauro Ranallo has been named Best Commentator by the fans. Our next category, this is a fun one, the Best Major Wrestling Show. Basically, best pay-per-view, best whatever is not a weekly TV show. That's how it's basically going. So the nominees are NXT TakeOver War Games, AEW Full Gear, AEW Double or Nothing, SummerSlam, the G1 Supercard, NXT TakeOver New York, and NXT TakeOver 25. And that wrestling award for the best major wrestling show of the year goes to NXT TakeOver War Games. That really was a great show to watch. Our next category is the best weekly TV show. Best weekly TV show. The nominees are AEW Dynamite, NXT, Monday Night Raw, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and NWA Power. And that wrestling award for the best weekly TV show goes to, well, it's a tie. The winners are AEW Dynamite and NXT. Congratulations to both promotions winning the best weekly TV show. And our final category for this segment here, the best wrestling promotion. There were only 2 nominees for this category. The nominees are All Elite Wrestling and NXT. And that wrestling award for the best wrestling promotion of the year goes to All Elite Wrestling. All Elite Wrestling. Congratulations. Alright, here's what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are enjoying this, the 5th annual That Wrestling Award Show. I'm going to take a break, but you guys are going to be listening to this week's Royal Rumble report. We're only 9 days away from the Royal Rumble, so you're going to hear Al out of love with his Royal Rumble report. And then, Fro is going to join me as we review both NXT UK Takeover Blackpool 2, try saying that 25 times fast, and Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill. And then after that, I will be back, give you my thoughts on more Tessa Blanchard news, and read off the big 4 categories, our final 4 categories: Match of the Year, Tag Team of the Year, Woman of the Year, and Wrestler of the Year. Hello, once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is your Royal Rumble report, and we are just 9 days away, that's right, 9 days away, next Sunday night, January the 26th, Houston, Texas, at Minute Maid Park for the 2020 Royal Rumble event. Now, I can promise you guys this: there won't be any signs being stolen during the Royal Rumble event. There may be hopes and dreams that are stolen during the Royal Rumble event, but no signs whatsoever will be stolen in Minute Maid Park. Oh, what a night it is going to be of action. We will get to the Royal Rumble matches itself in just a moment, but first let's talk about some of the matches that will be taking place at the Royal Rumble. For the Universal Championship, it is The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, defending against Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan says that he's a changed man, but for the better. Will he be able to dethrone The Fiend of the Universal Championship, or will Daniel Bryan be 0-2 again? Also, it is signed, it is official as of this Monday night, Becky Lynch defends the Raw Women's title against Asuka. Becky Lynch has said plain and clear, this is the one debt that she is waiting to collect, and it very well could be at the Royal Rumble. But then again, who knows? Asuka has had her number over the years. And this match announced earlier this week, Roman Reigns will go one-on-one with King Corbin. Now, something very important to mention is that tonight on SmackDown, Roman Reigns will face Robert Roode in a tables match, and the winner of that match picks the stipulation for this match at the Royal Rumble. Now, of course, what would the Royal Rumble be without the Royal Rumble match itself? 30 competitors will enter the ring at every 90 seconds. It starts off with 2, and then another person will enter the ring, and it keeps going until all 30 have come out. The last individual remaining in the ring is declared the winner of the Royal Rumble match. Now, let's talk about the Women's Royal Rumble match first, because this is a very interesting Royal Rumble. Charlotte Flair, a few weeks ago, declared herself as the first person, man or woman, to enter the Royal Rumble match. No doubt Charlotte Flair is a heavy favorite to win the Royal Rumble. She had a chance last year, but ended up as the runner-up in that Royal Rumble match. She's going to be looking to finally win it. This week, 3 new names have been entered into the Women's Royal Rumble match. We have former SmackDown and Raw champion Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, and Sarah Logan all have officially entered for the Royal Rumble match. More names will be announced next week for the Women's Royal Rumble match. But let's talk about the Men's Royal Rumble match. This is going to be one of the more interesting Royal Rumbles in recent memory, because for the first time in 30 years, the WWE Champion will be entering the Royal Rumble match and will not be defending the title at the Royal Rumble. Brock Lesnar declared his entry for the Royal Rumble about 2 weeks ago, and he is going to enter the Royal Rumble match at number 1. So the question is, will Brock Lesnar be able to go the distance? Will Brock Lesnar be able to beat all 29 other men to win the Royal Rumble? Now, let's think about this real quick. If Brock Lesnar is to win the Royal Rumble match, he may very well not have to defend the title at WrestleMania. Although there's 29 other guys that are going to have a say as to if they will be getting a piece of the beast at WrestleMania. So let's take a look at the roster of the men's Royal Rumble match. We have 2015 Royal Rumble winner Roman Reigns, King Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, Eric Rowan, AJ Styles, 2009 and 2017 Royal Rumble winner Randy Orton, Elias, 2006 Royal Rumble winner Rey Mysterio, Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, from Heavy Machinery, Otis, also from Heavy Machinery, Tucker, and just added this week these following individuals: the Bulgarian Brute and 2015 runner-up Rusev, the almighty Bobby Lashley, Aleister Black, and Buddy Murphy. Now, one name that at first was declared, but then he undeclared himself, is R-Truth. We will have to wait and see if R-Truth does in fact enter the Royal Rumble match. Now, folks, I'm going to tell you with all honesty, this is one packed card. This is going to be a night that you will never forget. This is going to be a big-time Royal Rumble in the Lone Star State. And if you can't be there, it's okay. All you have to do is sign up for the WWE Network right now. You get your first 30 days free, which includes this year's Royal Rumble. You don't want to miss this one. It only comes once a year. It is the Royal Rumble live next Sunday from Houston, Texas. With your Royal Rumble report, I'm Al Out of Love. Well, it's pay-per-view review time. We're taking a break here from awards and Royal Rumble reports. And Fro is on assignment this week. How you doing, Fro?
I'm doing good. We are in a time machine where it's Thursday. So, yeah, right now, when you're listening to this, I'm at my dad's place. So, we had to pre-record some of this.
Right. So, we're going to review the two big shows that took place on Sunday. One was really good.
Was definitely not. Yeah, one thing was definitely not like the other.
And the other one, with the exception of a couple matches, was...
Two matches, yeah.
Well, wasn't their best. How about we say that?
I will call it a shitty bang bang, shitty bang bang, shitty bang bang, oh yeah.
And we'll let you guys figure out where the bang bang part is and where the shitty part is. So we will begin with NXT UK Takeover Blackpool 2. Try saying that 5 times fast. Please don't. This was...
Yeah, this was totally okay.
Oh, I enjoyed this show. I really did. And,
oh, yeah.
You know, I don't get a chance to watch NXT UK as much, I think, as I would like to. But, wow, this was a fantastic show.
Yeah, it was extremely good from the beginning to the end, I would say.
Yeah. So, opening match of the pay-per-view, and Fro's going to take you guys through it because I did not get a chance to watch this match at all, Trent Seven against Eddie Dennis.
Yeah, this was totally okay. It wasn't something super exciting, but it wasn't the ending bad either.
Right.
So, it's totally watchable. It's nothing that you should go out of your way to watch. I thought it was given a little short time, maybe. I would give it C.
All right. Now, let me ask you this. Was this match better than, say, maybe a quarter of the Impact pay-per-view?
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Okay, just wanted to check.
Definitely.
So, the next match was the triple threat match for the NXT UK Women's title. Kaylee Ray defending against Toni Storm and Piper Niven. I loved this match.
This was extremely good, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really good.
And I have to say, this is one of the few times that I can ever remember watching a triple threat match where all three wrestlers were going at it the entire match. There wasn't a point where one took a break and the other two went, and then another one took a break and the other two went. These three went at it the entire time. And I really enjoyed that about the match. Piper Niven, if she hasn't broken out as a star, I believe broke out in this match. She was fantastic.
I think she was definitely the shock of the night for me.
Mm-hmm.
For me, she just surprised me with good all-time good wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was very nice to see someone that had a quality where you're like, oh, who's this? Why have I never heard of you?
And that destroyer she hit was insane.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Kaylee Ray stole a victory to retain the UK Women's title. I gave this an A-.
I gave this an A.
All right. And for those of you that are listening, you probably have noticed we are not mentioning Dave Meltzer's ratings for this show because, like Fro said a moment ago, we are recording ahead of time when you guys normally would listen to this. So you're not going to get his ratings for either show this week. So you're just going to get our ratings, which I think are the better ratings, but that's just me. So after that, two guys went, hold my tea, because it was Jordan Devlin against Tyler Bate in an insanely good match.
I was like, after we watched the first woman match, I was like, okay, they're going to have a match where they calm things a little down. They are going to have just an good old wrestling match.
Mm-hmm.
No. They're just like, okay, we're going to show them that we should be the main event. This was so good.
Oh, it was fantastic. I mean, it was a mix. Pardon me. It was a mix of technical wrestling, high-flying wrestling, just about as many as you could think of that came out of this match. It was amazing. Tyler Bate, for those who have not seen him, I know we have seen him wrestle on many of occasions.
Right.
Is still the real deal. I'm going to say this now. When the day comes that Tyler Bate is no longer in NXT UK and he's called up on the main roster, if he is not in the mix for either the WWE title or the Universal title, that is a crime. Because this guy can go with anybody and everybody. That's how good he is. Does not matter the size, does not matter the style. He can go with it.
Yeah, no, I could not agree more. And I think that's one of the things that surprises me the much most about this match is that it's just like it was so unfairly good.
Mm-hmm.
This almost gets an S, but it gets an A+ for me. A++.
And let's not take anything away from Jordan Devlin. Yes, we're loving him, but let's not take anything away from Jordan Devlin. He had a breakout performance in this match. We actually had
definitely.
2 wrestlers having breakout performances on this show.
Yep.
I'm gonna actually change the grade that I had originally. I had it at an A-. I'm gonna change it to an A. I'm gonna bump it up because I really enjoyed that match.
Yeah, it's super good.
Mm-hmm. Then we had a 4-way ladder match for the NXT UK Tag Team titles. It was Gallus, Imperium, the young veterans, Morgan Webster, and Mark Andrews. This was another good match, but it couldn't hold up to the previous 2.
No.
And you could tell.
No. I'm kind of happy that this was here, so it gave us a breather.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's not a fantastic match. It's an okay match. It's I think the pacing of it was a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bit slow.
And you could tell to a degree that the fans were sort of out of it by this point. Like, they had spent so much energy on the last 2 matches that by this point, it's like, anything they do is going to be good, but it's not going to be as great as the last 2 matches were. I thought this was a good match. I had no idea who was going to go over. I really didn't.
No. No. Me neither.
Ultimately, I think the right team went over with Gallus retaining the tag team titles. I'm going to give it a B+.
This gets a B for me.
All right. And then the main event for the for the United Kingdom Championship, I should say. It's not the NXT title. It's the WWE UK title. Walter defending against Joe Coffey.
I said to you, this is going to be a 5-minute match. I was wrong.
Yeah, you were.
I was
18 minutes?
At least, because I think they want 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's about right.
They went approximately 30 minutes over what they were going to do.
You saw a lot of hard strikes in this match. Obviously, there are when Walter is involved. Well, because we were actually having a conversation during the match of if we would do a tournament of like the best choppers.
Mm-hmm.
Walter would have been in that tournament. But,
oh, definitely.
Referee gets knocked out at one point in the match. Alexander Wolf of Imperium comes to help out Walter, and then all of a sudden Ilya Dragunov comes out to even the odds, even though he has no affiliation with Joe Coffey whatsoever. He has a feud with Wolf. Dragunov hits a move onto Wolf where he goes backwards into Coffey, and accidentally sprains his knee, which is a big factor for the remainder of the match. Coffey puts up a valiant fight, but it is Walter who ends up retaining the UK title. It's a good match. Like I said, the whole show I thought was a good show. I gave this a B.
Right. I gave this actually an A minus. I really thought this was a fun, good match where it was a little slow in the beginning, but it showcased Walter's wrestling ability.
Yes.
And I think that's very important to stress that he's an enormously good wrestler.
And then after the match, because, that's where we, with NXT, you always have something that happens at the end.
Right.
Undisputed Era comes out and attacks Imperium because they are going to face each other in about a week and a half at Worlds Collide. That is the main event match. It is an 8-man tag team match. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good way to end the show. And it really builds up what we're going to get in about a week and a half time.
It was a very good commercial for is it Worlds Collide? It's called, I think. Yeah.
So,
I enjoyed the ending.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, that was the pay-per-views we watched this week. Bye!
WWE's best pay-per-view of the year. There you go, folks. No, we have another show to go through. It is Hard to Kill. Of course,
it's definitely sadly hard to kill because I wish I could kill this pay-per-view. That's for sure.
Okay, well let's be fair about this pay-per-view before we get into it. Two things. Number one, not all the matches on the show are bad. Not all.
No.
And then
actually, I will say 2 matches are extremely good in this pay-per-view.
And number two, the outcome of the main event. Actually, let's talk about this now, because the outcome of the main event, no matter what was going to happen, we're going to have some controversy. Because the day before the pay-per-view, and this is why we're having this conversation now, because I didn't want to do it alone. The day before the conversation, or the day before the pay-per-view, all these rumors and allegations come out from other female wrestlers saying how Tessa Blanchard is a bully, how Tessa Blanchard has an attitude problem, how she used a racial slur while in Japan to another wrestler, among many things. So, after all that came out, the thought is now, okay, well, are they going to go with Tessa winning the title? Because I think before that Saturday, if you had asked an Impact fan, I think they would have said before Saturday, absolutely Tessa's going to win. And then after that happens, it's like, ooh, I'm not really sure. But we'll get to that when we get there. So our opening match of the pay-per-view is Ken Shamrock against Madman Fulton. Yeah, this was something.
Was it? Really?
I mean,
was it something?
Well, you got Ken Shamrock, who's in his 50s. Not that age is a bad thing here. And then you got a guy like Madman Fulton, who is very tall, but I think is still a bit green. And the two, I just didn't think really clicked, to be honest with you.
No, it didn't click at all. But I think there's many reasons for that. But it just like it felt extremely amateurish.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like Impact went back to TNA ages, and I don't mean that in a good way.
Oh well, they definitely did with a couple segments, which we'll get into. Shamrock got the win with an armbar. I gave it a D+.
You gave it a D plus or a B plus?
D as in
yeah. Oh, okay. I was like, you gave it this much a B plus?
No.
Oh, good. Oh. Yeah, definitely. I agree.
All right.
I gave it a D as well.
Okay. Next match. Or actually, we should mention this real quick. They talked about how a couple days prior to the event, Rich Swann suffered an ankle injury and was not medically cleared for the tag team title match, which is going to take place, which we'll get to later in the show. So now the idea or the question is, does Willie Mack have a partner for the tag team title match? We'll have to wait.
And I was 110% sure he would.
I sort of thought maybe, but I wasn't really positive.
Right.
All right, so our next match is for the X Division Championship, Ace Austin defending the title against Trey from the Rascals. The lead up to this match is real simple. Ace Austin is hitting on Trey's mom. Making moves, making advances. That's the plot.
This is the most awkward match we have ever had in history.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, this is awkward.
No.
It's awkward.
Okay, tell me how it's awkward.
But it because like it's like the mom story and the lead up to it. It is so it just feels wrong.
All right, I can see your point. This is a decent match. I haven't seen much of either man, so I'm not gonna really punish these guys on the grade. They're both young. They're gonna get better with age. Ace Austin won to retain the title. I gave it a C.
I gave this D+.
Okay. And then after the match, Ace was trying to hit on Trey's mom again. Trey comes back, fights, so this story is going to be going on for a little bit longer. Next match is a triple threat match for the Knockouts title. So this is our other three-way match for our women's title. Taya Valkyrie defending against Jordan Grace and ODB. And we have to mention right off the bat, Taya Valkyrie's outfit was phenomenal. Because she had the whole Cruella de Vil look down.
Yep.
Had the black and white spots, 101 Dalmatians, had it down to a T. It was great. It was
very, very, very fun.
Now the match is a good match. I'm not gonna bash this one. I said when I watched it, it is the best Taya Valkyrie match I have ever seen. Well, that's because she's working with a veteran in ODB and someone who is getting better and better every match in Jordan Grace. Yeah. And it's just a good chemistry here.
Very good chemistry. And I'm going to give Taya Valkyrie some compliments there. I thought this was overwhelmingly good. I thought this was surprisingly good. I was shocked of the quality of this match.
Mm-hmm. And then, the end of the match, Jordan Grace is about to win the title. She's gonna win the title.
Right.
Johnny Bravo hooks her leg, sort of holds her down. Taya comes in, sneaks a pinfall onto ODB to retain the Knockouts title. I like this ending because, number one, the right woman got pinned. Number two, the right woman is going to chase the champion. And number three, you're continuing what could be a good story. So I'm going to give this a C as well.
Yeah, I gave this a C+.
So, okay, we've had 3 matches. They've been all right, And then this is where the pay-per-view starts to go downhill. Oh my
God. With rocket speed as well. Holy shit!
Oh my God!
Where this pay-per-view starts.
I'm gonna.
Listeners, if you don't believe us, I understand that.
Yeah, we really will. If you have anybody with sensitive ears near you, please have them go out of the room for about the next 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
So we go backstage. RVD is with his wife, Katie Forbes. RVD is cutting this promo about how, he's partying all the time, and, and Katie is just all over him. Meanwhile, Daga, who I had no idea who it was until someone said it, is walking past the interview, and RVD says something to him. Daga doesn't do anything. And then RVD ends the promo, and he tells the director to go to roll the package. Katie then starts to take her hand down, and RVD's like, "Whoa, not that package. Oh, that's for later."
It is so awkward.
And it only gets worse.
It only gets worse. That's the strange thing.
It only gets worse.
I talked to my dad about this match.
Oh no.
And I said it was a little like watching porn. but it was wrestling match, and I saw it with a bunch of guys, so it made it even more awkward.
I haven't told anybody about this until...
this is so bad.
So, after the video is played... Now I just want to say, heel RVD is cool. Mm-hmm. I like heel RVD.
Oh yeah, me too.
It's everything else I have a problem with. So, Katie comes out.
Oh, yeah.
She shoots out, like, fake money.
Mm.
And then she starts to twerk. And it is the most random, ugliest sight you will ever see on God's green earth.
Oh, what was it? I said, I am happy I'm gay or something.
Yeah,
I made it
something like that.
Yeah.
So, this goes on for like 2 minutes as they're coming down to the ring.
And it doesn't stop there either. It's like she does it on the ring. She does it before they go into the ring. She does it inside of the ring. She does not stop. And the cameraman, I have to give shit to people that deserves it. The cameraman is angling this very, 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 very hard.
Yeah.
So he's trying to make it look like this is shot like very dirty porn.
Very, very inappropriate. Like, you want to poke your eyes, basically.
Right.
So,
and I have no problem with nudity and it's beautiful and things like that. But do you know what? I don't want it with my freaking wrestling.
okay, I'm gonna say this. Fro and I, we have respect for women.
Mm-hmm.
We treat women fairly. We treat them kindly. But when you act like an idiot and you shake your butt over and over again, and they're implants, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
you lower your standards very low.
I mean, I'm going to call her what she is. She was a skank.
She is. Oh, and we haven't even talked about the match yet. Because Brian Cage is coming out.
And why aren't we talking about the match? Because we are too occupied to laugh about how incredibly bad this is.
So Brian Cage is coming out, and, you know, he's greeting the fans. He's being a face. Mm. And then all of a sudden, this woman grabs Cage. I knew who this was right away. As soon as I saw the face. Okay. Yeah. So, this is, unfortunately, a situation where real life has come into professional wrestling.
Yep.
As I said about 2-3 minutes ago, Rob Van Dam and Katie Forbes are married.
Mm-hmm.
This woman is Katie's, let's just say, special friend.
With benefits.
Yeah.
Special friend with benefits.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, RVD comes out, he attacks Brian Cage. And he is beating the snot out of him. And it gets to the point where Brian Cage is bleeding from his nose.
Mm-hmm.
Then, RVD goes for a Van Terminator. Katie holds the chair. RVD hits the Van Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
The match hasn't even started, really. And they take Brian Cage out. He is gone. So, RVD and Katie Forbes are making out. Mm-hmm. When all of a sudden, here comes Daga out. And poor Daga is now going to replace Cage to face RVD. And if you can believe this, it gets even worse.
How does it get worse? From this?
You get about 50 zoom-ins of Katie Forbes. They're fighting on the outside. This is a complete mess of a match. RVD wins with the 5-star frog splash. And then Katie's special friend with benefits comes in, and all three celebrate. Fro, this is the worst segment in the history of Impact Wrestling, and this goes all the way back to the Hogan-Bischoff era. It goes all the way back to the Russo era. This is one of the worst segments in the history of professional wrestling. Both these matches get an F. I've never had to give 2 matches in a row an F, but these 2 deserved it.
And I could not agree more. It doesn't get even an F. It gets an F minus.
Oh, okay. I agree with my nephew. It gets a Z minus. This was garbage. Z minus. We're creating a new grade, folks. Z minus. And then I just want to say this.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently on Impact this week, because I saw this on my Instagram, there's a segment Rob Van Dam and the two girls. And they're in a hotel room. And RVD's been kissed all over his face. And he's talking about how when he was in ECW, neither one of them was born. Well, that's actually false. We looked up Katie Forbes. She was born in 1990, so she was like,
right.
She was like a little kid when ECW started. So they, Katie wants to do more, and she's like, "Why don't you take off your robe, Van Dam?" And then the other girl is like, "I want to see your Rob Van Dam." We are experiencing technical difficulties. We do apologize. I'm like, oh my god. Okay, we get it. We get it. We get what your life is. Not on my wrestling.
Yeah, I never ever felt dirty before watching wrestling, but this made me feel dirty.
This sent Impact back like 10 years.
20. 20.
That's the saddest thing, because for the last year and a half,
it is so sad.
We have been trying to support Impact.
Yeah.
They've had some good shows. They really have.
Oh yeah.
But this one segment ruins everything.
Yeah.
And the worst part is, I feel terrible for Brian Cage and Daga.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're both in this crap.
Yeah. No,
now, Brian Cage might actually have gotten the better end of the deal, because apparently he has signed with All Elite Wrestling, and this was his final night, apparently. So he got out of there. Ah, God.
But it is extremely sad to say this, but it felt like Hulk Hogan era TNA.
I don't know how else to compare it. I really don't know. If you folks don't believe me, go watch this. Go watch this.
No, don't. Watch old porno instead.
And then consult local psychiatrist and therapist. So
it is so bad. It is so incredibly bad.
Yeah. I'm surprised I haven't had nightmares. Okay, so anyway, back to the rest of the show, because there was more after this, and thankfully it got better.
Oh, definitely.
Next match is Michael Elgin against Eddie Edwards with the Call Your Shot trophy on the line.
Mm-hmm.
This was a pretty good match. Elgin has become very good. He's one of the best.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Eddie Edwards is very good. He's one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
Although his hairstyle is not really that good. We got to talk to him about his hairstyle. That's another thing. That's another story for another day. This is a good, hard, physical match.
Yep.
Both men do everything they can to win this match, to win the trophy, but they just can't do it. Mm-hmm. There is an incredible spot at one point where Michael Elgin hits a German suplex from the top rope, with Edwards landing on the mat to only get a 2 count.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an amazing spot.
Mm-hmm.
So Elgin tries to hit the Elgin bomb to win the match. Edwards is able to reverse it into like a schoolboy, and Eddie Edwards wins the match, and he keeps the trophy. Mm-hmm. So after having to deal with the crap before, this was good. I gave it a B-.
I gave it a B.
Okay, that's fair. That's very fair.
Mm-hmm.
Next match was for control of the Animal Kingdom, Moose versus Rhino in a no disqualifications match. Moose had an attempt at a Macho Man Randy Savage tribute outfit. Amazingly, the headband stayed on all the way to the end of the match.
Yeah, but this was not a good match.
Well, no, but I mean, compared to some of the other stuff we've seen.
True. It was Oscar nominated movie compared to that. But
Yeah,
but
it really was. I mean,
but this was sadly very. This also felt very old.
yeah, I could see your point. I mean,
Yeah.
the ref, I think the ref got knocked out at one point. I don't really remember. But Moose is able to win with the spear. And honestly, I said this during the match, and I'll say it again.
Mm-hmm.
Why not put a title on Moose? This guy is ready. He's ready.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
I gave the match a C.
I gave it a D+.
Okay. Next match is for the Tag Team Championship. The North, Ethan Page and Josh Alexander against Willie Mack and Willie Mack. So,
Yeah, this is sad. This is so incredibly sad. This is booking 101 mistake. Yeah.
This match would have been great if Rich Swann.
Yeah, it would.
But this
is.
But for me, this match actually is still good. Because
it isn't bad. It isn't bad at all. But it would be 10 times better if they gave him some offense. And I do think the Impact did something extremely weird here. Like, why won't you just give him a random partner? It doesn't really matter who it is if you're going to book it with them losing or with him losing anyway.
Right.
I would understand if he had won, like the underachiever or the the one that underdog story would be totally okay with me, but they don't bother to even tell that story. This felt very lazy for me.
Ooh, I've got to disagree with you on that because you have basically the story of Willie Mack who has to go on his own. And his partner isn't even allowed at ringside. He's not medically cleared to be at ringside. And he does everything he can to win this match. And the champs aren't even cheating. They're doing this, this is a match that's done by the book. They're doing everything they can, and they can't beat him. At one point, Willie takes a super Canadian destroyer from, the shoulder or off the shoulders and couldn't quite get the pin, but at the end it was the numbers game that was too much and the North retained the tag team titles. I gave it a C+.
Yeah, I gave this a D-. I did not think this worked.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. We agree to disagree.
Yeah, we do. Next time Impact Wrestling has a pay-per-view is going to be in April at Terminal 5 in New York City for Rebellion. I'm going to tell you all now. Don't expect a lot of people to fit in Terminal 5. That's all I'm going to say. I've seen Ring of Honor pay-per-views in that building. It's not going to hold a lot of people.
Okay.
So, now we go to the main event. This is basically the match we all ordered to see, or at least I ordered to see. Others did it illegally. Wink, wink. Sami Callihan against Tessa Blanchard. And we have... Fro, you there? Hello, Fro. I believe we have lost Fro. Give me a minute, folks. So, before this match even started, I thought Luke had a very good point, because he said in our discussion that no matter what the outcome was going to be, people were not going to like it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because go ahead.
They were set in a situation where damned if they do, damned if they don't.
And it's not even Impact's fault on this one.
No.
Because basically, if Tessa wins, people are going to be mad that they gave her the belt because of what she did, or allegedly did. And then if Sami wins, they're going to be mad because they didn't let a woman go over. So, after we get the introductions, Sami goes for the kill right away, hits his finishing move not even 30 seconds into the match to only get a 2 count. Then, Tessa is able to get herself together, and she hits Magnum, and it's like, oh God, she's going to win the title, and she only gets a 2 count. So within a minute, both competitors hit their finishing moves, and neither one of them could pull it off, which I thought was a good way to begin this pay-per-view. Or not pay-per-view, to begin this match. So then they have the match. It's a hard-fought match, very physical. It's about as physical as it can be. Sami does moves on the outside, he's doing basically everything he can to beat her, but she's just not going to go down. She's not, she's not going to lose this match under any circumstance. And Tessa fights back, and it's back and forth, and you get a lot of near falls, and it's very close, but you're not getting the 3 count. Neither person can put the other one away. And then Sami, he hits some of his signature moves, which can only get a 2 count. Tessa, she hits some of her signature moves, and she can only get a 2 count. So, it's getting really close, and, it's like the other is getting frustrated. Like, each one is making the other frustrated. And it gets to the point where, I think Sami almost was going to be willing to take the disqualification and, lose the match but keep the title. But, no, it wouldn't happen. And Tessa manages to come back. She fights back. And she is able to pin Sami Callihan, and Tessa Blanchard is the first woman to ever win a men's world heavyweight title. I thought this was a very good match. I thought this was the best match of the show. It's going to be very interesting to see how they go with this. I gave it a B.
I gave this an A-, and I tried to forget everything that happened and just enjoyed the match.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought this was from A to B, a great technical match with a amazing storytelling inside the ring. And we saw before the pay-per-view, the whole pre-show was a super long packet.
Mm-hmm, it was.
And it is one of the best packages I have ever seen in Impact's history. And the storytelling before this was just amazing. The storytelling inside the ring was amazing. And the ending was so freaking deserved with a question mark.
Mm-hmm. So, after the pay-per-view had gone off the air, Tessa Blanchard grabbed the microphone and she made, I guess you could say, a post-match speech.
Mm-hmm.
And I have what she said right here in front of me. So this is what she said after the match. And we had gone off the air. Over the past 8 months, this has been my life. Sammy and OVE have been a thorn in my side, and tonight we did it. Nobody in this life is perfect. We're all human. And it doesn't matter what you say about me. It doesn't matter what you call me. I've got one of the strongest minds that I've ever known. So whenever you come for me, you come for all these people. Then she ends. Well, she ends Fro. You there, Fro?
Oh, yeah, internet connection problems.
Okay, and then she ends her speech by saying, I am now the standard bearer of Impact Wrestling, and man or woman, pound for pound, I am one of the best in the world, and I am now your world champion.
Good speech.
I guess, but, you know, I don't know. I think after that match, I wouldn't have said anything. I just would have gone back to the locker room. But that's just me. Overall,
maybe Impact made her.
Yeah, to a degree, I agree with it. I'll agree with you there. All in all, I think NXT UK was the better show of the two. They had the far superior quality of wrestling here. There really weren't any gimmicks, nothing tasteless, nothing bad. I mean, obviously we are going to still review Impact despite, you know, one not so good show.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they wrote themselves out of this discussion of covering it.
Right.
It's not that bad, but it's bad.
They just had one of the worst segments I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, yeah.
Real quick, what did you guys discuss on Another Digital Citizen this week?
Yes. I had just done recording that, actually, so I should know without checking the cheat sheets. But my brain is a little tired because it's 1 o'clock in the night.
Would you like me to check?
I'm going to cheat sheet, yes. But yeah, we talked about the debate, of course. We talked about a lot of the democratic debate, but our main topic was Planetary Activation Organization. And that is one of the funnest main topics we have had in quite a while because... yeah, it's a strange little UFO religion that, we had very much fun with.
Now, real quick, because I know I'm going to mention this in my plugs at the end of the show, you guys did get a chance to talk about the Academy Award nominations that came out on Monday. Were you surprised at all that Joker got the most nominations?
I've seen the movie. I didn't like it. I liked Jared Leto's Joker in it.
Oh, you mean Joaquin Phoenix?
Joaquin Phoenix, sorry. I was thinking Suicide Squad there for 2 seconds. But Yeah, story wise, I think it's a shit movie. I just think it's a very good work by Joaquin Phoenix. Am I surprised? Not really, but I didn't like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood either, and that got 10 Oscar nominations. Yeah,
I think. Oh, go ahead.
No, come on.
No, I was gonna say, if I had to make an early pick right now, from what I've seen commercial-wise, I think 1917 is gonna take it.
I think so as well. I have not seen that. It's one of the things I really want to see.
Yeah.
Snobs. I was extremely happy to see that Parasite got the Best Oscar nomination for Best Picture, because that's one of the best movies I saw last year.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good stuff about it.
I had that as my number one on my list of movies of last year. But and I'm also happy to see a lot of nominations to Netflix with both The Irishman. Also in documentary they had a little factory in Ohio. And I think they also got a nomination for Marriage Story, right?
Yeah, I think Best Picture, Adam Driver got Best Actor nomination, and Scarlett Johansson got Best Actress. She actually got a Best Supporting as well. So I don't know if she's going to get both, but you never know.
But yeah, no, I think The Irishman is one of the best movies I've seen last year as well. It was my number 2. Amazing movie. Loved it. Better than both The Godfather and Goodfellas.
Ooh, man.
Yeah. I really, really recommend that movie. But was I surprised? No, it's a very Oscar-baited movie.
Yeah.
But I didn't especially like it, so...
All right. Well, Fro, we will see you next week for the big Royal Rumble preview extravaganza.
Ooh!
We're going to pick our winner for the Royal Rumble. And I can tell you right now, Fro, I have no idea who's going to win the men's Rumble. The women, I think I have an idea. The men, I have no idea.
Brock Lesnar. Sorry, I had something in my throat.
Sure you did.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Fro. Well, we'll talk to you next week. And
bye, everyone.
Let's get back to the award show.
Well, thank you very much, Fro, and, well, me, for that review of NXT TakeOver UK, Blackpool, and Hard to Kill. Yesterday, Tessa Blanchard released her first public statement since the allegations were made that she used a racial slur, among many other things. This is what Tessa Blanchard said, and I'm gonna read this. Quote, "Over the last week, I have been accused of calling a fellow wrestler a racial slur. To read this allegation has been personally upsetting. To be clear, I absolutely did not use that word. That word is not in my vocabulary. That word is not in my heart. Racism is not in my heart. Yet, I know many people have to deal with racism in a way I will never have to. Racism is an awful part of American history, and it is equally awful that it's still part of our society today. While I do not do what was claimed, I stand ready to use my platform to support the fight against racism however I can." It's been I'll say this, it's been a very messy situation, and if she did say it, or if she didn't say it, which, I'm not gonna be like, oh, she's lying, or oh, she's telling the truth. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. I'm just not gonna fall for it. I say, let's just sit back and see what happens. One other thing that also happened, I also wanted to mention this, because as you heard, we did that pay-per-view review a couple days ago. I had mentioned the video package that, that aired on Impact this week with RVD, Katie Forbes, and her girlfriend. Because of that video, and it was up on Twitch, Impact Wrestling is banned on Twitch. Way to go, RVD, and you two wonderful, classy women. Way to go. Alright, now it's time to get to our final awards. These are the 4 big awards to me. And our first category is Match of the Year. This, I have said this on many occasions, this is my favorite category every year, because you get a different view from a lot of people as far as what they thought was the best match of the year. This year we had 6 matches nominated for the 2019 Match of the Year. The nominees for Match of the Year are Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega from Full Gear, Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole from NXT TakeOver New York, Cody versus Dustin Rhodes from Double or Nothing, Santana and Ortiz versus the Young Bucks from Full Gear, Kazuchika Okada versus Jay White from the G1 Supercard, and Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan from WrestleMania 35. And that wrestling award for the Match of the Year goes to Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega from Full Gear. Once again, I will be accepting these awards on behalf of, the wrestlers. Our next category, Tag Team of the Year. The Tag Team of the Year. The nominees are the Young Bucks, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, the War Raiders, and Santana and Ortiz. And that wrestling award for the Tag Team of the Year goes to the Young Bucks. Young Bucks winning Tag Team of the Year once again. Congratulations to them. Next category is the Woman of the Year. Woman of the Year. Your nominees are Becky Lynch, Tessa Blanchard, just talked about her a moment ago, Allie, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Britt Baker, Kelly Klein, and Shayna Baszler. And that wrestling award for the Woman of the Year goes to Becky Lynch in a pretty much runaway on that one. And now it is time for our final category. This is the big one. The Wrestler of the Year. This year we had 9 professional wrestlers nominated by our fans, our Facebook group, as Wrestler of the Year. This is no doubt a wide variety of professional wrestlers. Probably you could say coming from all 4 corners of the world. The nominees for the Wrestler of the Year are Braun Strowman, Velveteen Dream, AJ Styles, Jon Moxley, Seth Rollins, Darby Allin, Becky Lynch, Chris Jericho, and Adam Cole. And that wrestling award for the Wrestler of the Year goes to... This was very close. One vote separated the winner and the runner-up. Your 2019 Wrestler of the Year, Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch, the first woman to win the Wrestler of the Year category. Congratulations to Becky. Congratulations to all the winners. And a big thank you to you, the fans, for voting in the 5th annual That Wrestling Awards. Well, that's going to wrap it up here for this week. But before we go, let's talk about, well, let's do the plugs. If you guys have any questions or comments, send an email, wrestlingman@thatwrestlingshow.com. Don't forget to follow the show on Twitter @WrestlingShow11. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram. It is instagram.com/thatwrestlingshow. Don't forget to join our Facebook group. It is That Wrestling Show Fan Group. You type that in the search bar, and you are right there. And if you can't find it, it's okay. I put the link in the description of each and every episode, so you guys can copy and paste, or even click on it, depending on where you get this wonderful show. Check out the website, thatwrestlingshow.com, and visit josephmcdade.com. We use his music as the theme song of That Wrestling Show. So check out his music, josephmcdade.com. He has free music that you can use. You could use it for podcasts, YouTube videos, indie movies, video games, basically whatever. Just as long as you give him the credit, he'll let you do it. Now, to some podcasts that you guys should check out. Check out Our Vantage Point, the Retro Wrestling Podcast with Joe Murata and Michael Quinn. They take you through the world of professional wrestling, retro professional wrestling, as only they can. Now, this week, it's a special episode because they are doing a live review, and, well, live, if you're watching it on YouTube, but this was recorded anyway, of the 1986 Slammy Awards. I have seen that. It is a very interesting award show, to say the least. I guess that's the best way to put it. But check it out, Our Vantage Point Retro Wrestling Podcast. Also check out the Wrestling Podcast About Nothing with former referee Mike Crockett, along with Chaotic Wrestling owner Brian Fury. And, well, Brian Malonis isn't on this week, but they do have a guest host in Sonny Goodspeed. This week, they discuss moves and spots that should be banned forever. Very interesting topic there. I think you guys might want to check it out. It is the Wrestling Podcast About Nothing. And if you like your episodes done, or your podcasts hosted by one individual, you know what I'm going to recommend. Greetings from Allentown, with your host, P.W. Peter Winson. He watches one episode of professional wrestling each week in his own unique manner. It is very, very interesting, and it's at times very exciting. This week, he reviews an episode of WCW Pro from January 18th, 1992, and from what I've read, this 6-man match that they had a lot of stars on it. So check out Greetings from Allentown. If you're looking for non-wrestling related podcasts, I've got some. Check out the Best Pick Movie Podcast with Tom, John, and Jessica as they watch each and every Academy Award winning Best Picture in no particular order. Now, this week, the nominations came out for the 2020 Academy Awards, so they discussed that. They broke that down a little bit. And also, they reviewed the Best Picture winner of 1948, Hamlet, with Laurence Olivier. I can tell you now, I haven't even seen this movie yet, but they definitely got it wrong. The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, that's the better picture, in my opinion. Also, check out Unspooled with Paul and Amy. These two watch every movie on AFI's list of the 100 greatest movies of all time, the 2007 edition. This week, they watch and discuss The Gold Rush with Charlie Chaplin. And I can tell you in all honesty, this is my favorite Charlie Chaplin movie. So check out Unspooled. Also check out Shark's Pond, a South Park podcast, where I watch each and every episode of South Park. This week, I am reviewing the Season 8 episode, The Jeffersons. And if you miss out, you're ignorant. You're ignorant. So check that out. And finally, it is Eliminated, a Royal Rumble podcast with myself and Jim Boy Star, and every once in a while we'll have a guest on. This week, we discuss the 2014 Royal Rumble match. There's a lot of talk on that one, a lot of CM Punk focusing on a particular injury that he may or may not have had, depending on, your view. A lot of stuff to talk about on that one. That is Eliminated, a Royal Rumble podcast. Alright, next week, we've got a big show. We have a very big show. Because Fro will be back with me. We will be previewing the Royal Rumble event. We're going to go through all the matches. We're going to make all of our predictions, including who will win the men and women's Royal Rumble matches, respectively. Plus, we will also predict what will happen the previous night at Worlds Collide with NXT and NXT UK. The card is shaping up to be really, really good, folks. Check out the card if you haven't had a chance. And we're going to preview NWA Hard Times, because they got a show next Friday night where they will crown a brand new television champion. It's going to be down to 6, folks, after this coming week's episode. And we'll pick who will win the television title tournament. Plus, we'll get into wrestling news and one more Royal Rumble report. So on that note, everybody have a good, safe weekend, no matter where it is where you are. I know over here on the East Coast we're supposed to be getting some bad weather this weekend. Enjoy your Martin Luther King Day. It is a 3-day weekend for a lot of us. And until then, join me and Fro on our next episode of That Wrestling Show, the only podcast where all pro wrestling matters. And as always, man, if I ever have to see Katie Forbes shaking her ass like that one more time, I think I'm gonna barf. I'm gonna puke. I'm gonna be like Vince McMahon. He's gonna puke! He's gonna puke! Please, I don't ever... Ugh. Wrestle on.